Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, I'm going to be going over the 5 things that I love about the all-new Hyundai Kona N. Before getting into the video though, as always, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into it. Number 1 is actually the exterior styling. Now this is actually surprising to me because I am usually not a fan of split light designs. You guys can see the daytime ring light is actually separated from the headlight, which usually kind of looks funky, but it actually works on the Kona. And yes, they did steal the little nostrils from Audi, but you know, the darker front grille, the red accenting, and this like grayish blue, bluish white, whatever you want to call it. It's a very interesting color, actually looks really good. I think they did a good job with the wheel design. Red brake calipers as well. Well, at least, well, yeah, the back one's red as well. It's just super dirty, so you can't really see it. But yeah, it has this cool, sporty, hot hatch type appearance to it, even though it's technically an SUV. And so I think that they actually did a pretty good job with the styling on the new Kona N. Now, number 2 is the interior. Now, this interior definitely has a lot of, you know, economy car aspects to it, like you can see up top, but the seats are actually really nice. They've got blue stitching that actually matches the exterior color, which is fun. And then you've got the inserts here in the center of the seats, which look really good. And if we pop over here to the front, same thing. And you can see the seats are actually pretty nicely bolstered. You got the N logo on them. And you got fun stuff like all the buttons on the steering wheel, like for the red ones for the non-grin shift, for example, full digital gauge cluster. And so again, it definitely has some economy car stuff thrown all throughout, like on the door panels and all that kind of stuff. But a lot of the major elements, like the seats and the steering wheel and everything, they look really cool. So I think they actually did a good job considering the price point this is at. Number 3 is the performance. So if you guys haven't seen my review on this already, I'd recommend going and watching that because I did launch control in the middle of a pretty substantial rainstorm. And so yeah, it was quite a bit of fun. But anyways, the performance with this car is really solid. I drove this down a really curvy, bumpy road that has a bunch of elevation change, and it just performed flawlessly. Like, grip was amazing, power's really good, and you know, again, this has less than 300 horsepower, but it's not super heavy, and so, you know, power to weight ratio with this is pretty solid. And so again, I think it's hilarious that Hyundai's calling this an SUV when in reality it's kind of like a lifted, well, yeah, I guess an SUV is a lifted hatchback, but yeah, it really does drive like a hot hatch, so it's really solid from a performance perspective. Now, number 4 is that it's fun to drive. This is actually very important to talk about because there are a lot of cars that have amazing performance that aren't exactly fun to drive. And this actually mixes both because, again, like I said with the previous point, it has really good performance, but it's also really fun to drive. The steering with the Kona N is fantastic. Now, it is front-wheel drive, which you do get some torque steer here and there, which is kind of annoying. But for the most part, because it has limited slip differential, it pretty much gets rid of most of it. And so overall, it has this fun, lightweight, tossable feel. And so, yeah, it's really fun to drive. Number 5 is the price. So this one stickers for about $35,000 roughly, which, I mean, is an absolute bargain, frankly, in my personal opinion, because we have a car with almost 300 horsepower, crazy performance, dual clutch automatic transmission, I think really cool styling, and it's under $40,000. I mean, we don't have pricing on the new Civic Type R quite yet, but the previous generation was like almost $40,000, and then there are versions of the Civic Type R that were over $40,000. And I understand this isn't a Civic Type R competitor, but this is a front-wheel drive hot hatch type vehicle, and so it's kind of in the same realm. And I'm sure the new Civic Type R is going to be over $40,000. The new Golf R is also over $40,000. And so, again, despite the fact this is only front-wheel drive, it actually is a bargain, which is cool. That's gonna sum things up for my video on the 5 things that I love about the new Hyundai Kona N. And with that being said, I'll see all of you in the next video.